This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
All right, so I'm going to call the meeting of the Manhan Rail Trail Committee to order. It's Monday, September 18th. We're meeting both in person and remote by Google Meet. We'll start by approval of the August 21st meeting minutes, which I sent out with the agenda. Anybody having any corrections or comments?
No, and will we accept the minute?
Second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all right, unanimous. Public speak time? Don't see anybody. Okay, continuing old business, trail updates. Does anybody have any trail updates?
When I went by back of Ed's.
Yep.
A couple of weeks ago, it looked like they had cleared it again.
Yep, they did.
Okay.
Except sort of toward the back, and
Right.
they apparently
I mean, it
identified some.
I think I thought I
Plants.
sent an email about that. The
Oh.
DPW went out like the
They put mulch, too.
Saturday after, not long after our last meeting.
Okay.
They were gonna go out and they were gonna cut everything
Okay.
down. They did.
And then they put mulch over it too,
They did.
Good.
Okay.
which
Yeah,
makes
they're-
it look better.
Yeah, but there is, they're working on what's gonna happen there, but they did go and cut it down.
Good. Is Ed's open again yet?
No,
No.
I
I
don't,
think they put everything off because of there's litigation
I think
pending.
maybe he's gonna rebuild a building, but
Okay.
I don't know details on that.
So I thought originally they said they intended to rebuild, but I hadn't heard anything since then. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I have ordered the mural letters.
Okay, good.
It did end up being more than the initial cost, because that might have been just for the material. So, but we gotta have
Needs to
them.
be done.
It has to be
Oh,
done,
yes, yeah.
and, they've been pretty responsive, so they should be here soon. When they do get here, we're gonna have to figure out how we're gonna get them back up there. I've talked to Pasqualina about repainting the banner.
Mhm.
It
Right.
needs to be clean. And then I think after we have it clean, we can see if it needs repainting. I have a feeling it probably will.
Oh, there's one.
And Pasqualina has said she would help us with that. So
Well, what would that involve to repaint it?
I think just paint.
Try to match
Hello.
the color, and it would have to be exterior, and then
Yeah.
the original mural had clear coating, several layers of clear coating to
Right.
protect the paints.
I think the first thing is,
Yeah, they repainted the mural in, where was it? Westfield, that was underneath the bridge that was vandalized, and you'd never tell that it was a repainted. It looks just like the original. So
was that right on a wall, Steve?
yeah.
Yeah. Ours is a
Yep.
little different because it's on the panels. I
Right,
think it's held better because of that. Yeah.
Hey, John.
But I think that, like, Rich may be willing to do some of the work, but we're gonna need to have somebody else help with the actual physical, work of putting the letters on and making a few repairs to the banner, because there's some rotted spots. But
Well, we have people that are texting or emailing us all the time about offering to
yeah,
do projects, so it would be worth it maybe to send out an
Right.
email to
well, now that
everybody
we've
and
got
ask.
the Google group thing going
Right.
again, I think that's the first place to start. We can start by sending out a blast to the group,
The
to the
friends.
Google group. And then depending on what we get there, we could put it out to Facebook.
Okay.
And depending on what we get to the Manhan, we could go beyond that.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't need a whole lot, but
Right.
I don't think he's willing to do everything.
No.
Okay, so that's going.
Okay.
Now,
I had,
who's in the Google group?
I think I put everybody in who we had an email address for.
Oh, okay.
So when people join as
Friends
members of the
member?
Friends, they're asked if they're willing to include their email address.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure you're in there, Steve. I haven't sent out a whole lot. I sent out a few in the spring, maybe. And I think I did a test.
And we're gonna get Steve up on a ladder with a
Yeah.
hammer and
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Well, if you want to see me in the hospital, you'll.
So earlier, no, I guess it was the middle of last week. One of the brewery owners sent a picture of, the path that goes from the parking lot down to the trail.
Mhm.
And it's just stone. It's stone on the side. Well, I hadn't been there recently, but it was totally weedy. It was like tall weeds. I mean, it looked like they were planted. So anyway, they were starting to come out onto the path. It was that
Mm.
overgrown. So, I reached out to, our DWE, the guy there's a landscaper we have who does Route 5, Lovefield Street Bridge, and he also does along the wall. And within 2 days, he was out there and he cleaned it right up.
So is that our property or the mill's whose responsibility is it?
Well, that's a little bit iffy, but the mill owners do pay us.
Right.
So
Okay.
I just told him to add it onto the next bill. I did warn him that there was nothing planted there, that was all rock. And did he say, yeah.
So you're talking about that sloping area behind abandoned building,
The pathway
Right,
down
fine.
from the
Right.
trail up to the parking lot.
sort of like in the middle
He
between
sent it. Oh,
where the mills are. Yeah.
Yeah.
His
Yeah, I noticed that.
wife.
It's like a lot of
sent it.
Queen Anne's lace and things like that.
Oh,
Just
it was.
Yeah, well,
It was really bad. So anyway, I made sure to tell the DPW and the mayor's office and who had done it, because I mean he just jumped right on it.
okay.
Here, I'll show you. This before. See if I can find it. See what it looked like before.
Wow.
I'll send around that's the before, because it looks like there's something planted there.
Yeah. Well,
well, they're still good for the
are they
pollinators.
I was gonna say, are they native weeds? As long as they're not invasive.
And he said it was coming out onto the path.
John
So that
can
was,
see it.
it doesn't,
What's going on here?
all right, that's before, and then I have an after.
Okay.
Nice crop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then,
unless we just seed it with
yeah,
a low growing sander or something.
that's what it looks like. It's,
Oh, wow.
it's riprap. It's big, those big
Oh,
chunky
nice.
rocks.
Yeah, nice job.
Yeah,
Yeah, you kind of have to use a weed whacker in there.
I don't know if you can, you
I
wanna,
can't see it from him.
So I did send an email to him warning him that really it was just rocks under there, that, I didn't want him to ruin the,
that's the, yeah.
Well, and things get down in there are gonna grow up. I mean, there's not much you can do
I know.
unless you,
wind,
the other one.
unless
wind blows stuff.
Yeah.
Where's the before?
Oh,
And yet the seeds I plant in my garden can't seem to
I
be
know.
addressing.
why is that? That's before.
Oh,
The
dear.
grass grows in the garden.
That's.
well, some things
That
are
is
just
bad.
hardier and can grow in little
But we
niches
knew
like the things that
that-
come
Oh,
inside.
yeah, there, so anyway, it was really great of him that I was able to email him, and like within a day, he was right down there on top.
That's
of it.
really good.
Well, that's probably something like that regularly, like especially during the summer months, just needs to be included.
I think I told him, I said, let's just add that in, just if we keep on top of it, then it
We have
should
a-
be good for
We
the
have a
rest
weed
of the
whacker in
year.
the shed.
No, we hire him, he's a landscaper.
Okay,
You
Yeah.
pay him like $150 to do once a month, those 3 areas.
Hmm.
So, It's very reasonable. I don't really have any other issues that have arisen.
Maintenance.
Is there, I know you talked to, Greg about, once they were sort of done with behind Ed's, about getting that section of asphalt repaired.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, we talked about it and then he said he needed to wait, but now, yeah, that's true. So I need to talk to him again.
Probably because the season
I
will
mean,
be,
cause if it's not
Yep,
in the next couple months, then it's gonna be spring.
You're right.
and we're gonna be again.
Which, I mean, I
Yep.
guess either one would suffice, but
that's true.
Sooner.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so Wendy, has put together the draft maintenance plan and you sent it off.
Mhm.
Have you-
Well, so I don't know, I guess, did you share that with everybody that the mayor responded? So Greg, I sent it to Greg and John saying, can you put your, fill in the blanks where we couldn't?
Yeah.
And once we get it tweaked, we'll send it to the mayor. And he sees, he drew the mayor into the conversation, which is perfectly
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
So she responded to me and said, thank you for starting this conversation, and she was willing to meet with us. So that's how that came about. And so it sounds like she might be hopefully attending the next meeting.
Yeah, when I had written to her, I gave her the 2 dates that you can't be there. So just today I sent her the October 16th date.
Okay,
And I have not heard back,
okay,
but hopefully she can, I felt kind of like we needed to decide on our dates and what's going on here too.
right.
But, hopefully she can come and I've invited Greg. I'd like Greg to be there too, and Jeff and whoever we can get,
John,
everybody in the same, and I think
I
that
agree.
should be the focus of that meeting.
Yep.
We shouldn't really do anything else,
And that's fine.
which puts our friends meeting probably to November.
And I don't think that's a problem
No,
because it doesn't say in our
it does, no.
constitution that we have to meet in October. Okay.
And even if it did, so what?
Who's gonna report us?
Yeah, I think we changed it, so it was like in the last quarter of the year or something like that.
Good.
so is sweeping, leaf blowing 5 times a year, really?
We changed that, right? So I think I had once or twice, and
Yeah.
Barb said, well, what do you think, John? How many times? I think
it's hard to put a time on that, but I think a 5.
And that's just mostly
Like after
seasonal,
a
isn't it?
storm, and then, but in the fall, how often do you go out and do the leaf blowing? Would you guess?
Once a week.
Really?
It can be a lot.
yeah, so and then even 5 might be on the low side, but
Maybe we should make it clear that that's seasonal.
Well, it could be after a storm too,
yeah.
you know, a lot of twigs and.
Or,
branches.
not of,
Or you can put as needed.
So what's
Like the snow
the
plowing.
situation
Yep,
for this
You're right.
fall? It
This is
was,
a type of,
Well, Terry's working for
Terry,
us.
you know what I mean?
Yep.
Right.
We're paying Terry.
Good.
She's, still out there working. So I think she'll do it.
what year was that? That was that year 2? Year 2.
yeah,
Year
like
1.
the last item on the year 1.
Okay, I'll change that. Thank you.
It's well
Everything,
written.
everything should be okay. I mean, I tried out the tractor, that was running last time, and the blower too, so. Yeah. Didn't have any problem.
Right. When I was at the Cape for vacation, did I tell you all, or, I ran into a guy who was, the maintenance guy working on the Cape Cod Rail Trail in, Eastham. And he had his little, I think, did I send the picture to everybody?
No, I think you mentioned that you were out there.
Yeah, no, so of course I had to take a picture of his little Bobcat.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. I think
I think I might have.
maybe
Yeah.
I sent it.
I'm like, brother, this. So he's one guy, yeah. He has a little, with all of his tools in the back, it's just your normal,
Yeah,
little
it's got 4 wheels, right?
Yep.
Four wheel.
Yep.
It's like
And how
a
much?
hefty golf cart.
That's what I was just
Yeah,
gonna
that's
say.
what it is, yeah. That's a better picture, I think.
It would be kind of fun to drive that down.
So are you volunteering?
Give the kiddies rides.
Yeah. I mean,
It's cute.
I know for Terry, I don't know how she's really getting from place to place.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's riding her bike or whether she's driving and parking. Last
cute.
year, she said she used the e-bikes, but they're not around anymore. I mean, I think this is something, I think we should apply for money to get
Yeah.
this. I did get a quote from a John Deere place down in Springfield. Did I send that on?
You said you were waiting for it.
Yeah, and I just remembered when I came here tonight. I'll look it up and I'll send it.
Was it
Um,
outrageous?
There were like 3 different ones and I think none of them were, it was all like under 20,000.
Or the
But
electric.
It's still a lot.
There was electric, but when he heard what we would be using it for, just didn't think that it probably was the best.
For plowing, I think, didn't you say that he said, don't try to use
Yeah,
it
in
for
winter
plowing?
Yeah.
and,
Because the
yeah.
Too much.
battery.
So I was talking to Greg about that and he thinks it's a great idea. And there also may be other, on the state bid list and they might be able to help with sourcing, a different
Used
kind.
one or something.
No, we're gonna get a new, if we get a grant, we're gonna get a new one.
Oh, if it's, yes.
So is it technically a Bobcat? Is it?
No, it's my father has a Kawasaki Mule.
But they're all the
They
same.
call them different things. So I asked Greg, he said, well, where would you keep it? And I said,
At your
maybe,
house?
maybe there would be a place in the public safety complex. And he said, no, there's no room in there. But he said there'd probably be room in the wastewater treatment plant,
Oh,
which is on Gosselin Drive, right?
Mhm.
It's not as convenient as being right next to our
Right.
shed,
Right.
but he said that there would be room down there. And then you could
Easy
just-
access to the trail.
Easy access to the
Yeah.
trail.
Yeah.
So
So who it would be applying for the grant? Would that be the city or would it be the Friends?
I don't know. We gotta look at the application. I think.
Okay.
As soon as the applications come out, or maybe they're already out.
They might be out. Well, there are so many grants.
I was looking at the recreational trails grant.
Is that the
Okay.
mass trails?
Yeah.
So those, at least the guidelines for who is able to apply, those will probably not change year over year, so you should be able to see what
Yeah.
was put out there for this last
Yeah.
one.
So should look into that, like look at the guidelines and the application and the deadline and get some other prices from Greg and find out, what would be good.
Mhm.
Because I think it would be just really helpful.
Yeah.
And whether it's Terry or if we end up hiring an employee or something, you need to be able to get on the trail. But this guy, it was interesting because he's an older guy and he takes care of 26 miles of trail all by himself.
wow.
Wow.
And when he has to like do leaf blowing, because they have sand and stuff down there,
Mhm.
he'll go out like at night and do it overnight, like until 5 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Because otherwise there's too many people.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ah,
But he was out there with his weed whacker, weed whacking the fence line. And I was like, looks great. And then I went out for a ride and you know how they had all the cracks marked with yellow,
good, good.
yellow
Familiar?
spray paint.
Yeah.
So all of the problems that we have here sounds just like
Oh, yeah.
they're dealing with the
Everywhere.
same things down there. Yeah, but that's a DCR trail. So he's a DCR employee.
Wow.
So, but it was interesting.
Which trail is that again, Barb?
I don't know. It's the one on the Cape. Is that the Cape Cod Rail Trail?
Yeah.
Oh,
Is that
okay.
we were in
Well, there's
Eastham.
more than one, but the main one that goes the long way, yeah.
Yeah, he does from
That's Cape
Nickerson
Cod.
State Park to Wellfleet,
Okay.
Yeah,
that stretch. Right?
yeah.
And they
So,
store their equipment at Nickerson State
Hmm.
Park. Yep.
so that information is useful because we were having some preliminary conversations with Greg. He was saying, well, it might be 2 additional people or 1.5. And our trail is only 6 miles. This guy's doing 26 miles and he's only 1. So it
Right.
just might be something that we could pass along to them. And
Yeah. Another thing that he said it's for as far as if we were looking for somebody, he's also an arborist. He said it would be really good if you could find somebody like, who has some knowledge of trees. I don't know how you find a person that's willing to do all that hard work, plus have the background of
Right.
being an arborist.
Right.
But that, they were lucky enough to have somebody like that. But he said that was a very valuable thing to have.
Well, we have John, that's the same thing.
I know, we'll just hire John.
Yeah, it's a jet plane, I'll take off.
Give you a bobcat.
Yeah, yeah, good.
Well, anyway,
So going back to meeting with the mayor,
Yes.
are we settled on a date or?
well, I think the only one we can do in October is October 16th. Or sometime that week. Because when you're gone, right?
I'm gone. I mean, I could. Well, we're flying out the 23rd. So that probably wouldn't be good because if the plane's
No,
late, I could be
no,
in the
no.
air. But,
Just call him from the plane.
yeah.
Right, well, you can
Wi-Fi's
just,
usually
you know,
I'm
But
calling from the
the
cockpit.
second week I will be there.
Yeah.
But I just feel like
I think
it's more important to be
I
in
think-
person.
I think you
for that.
should, you need to be in person.
Yeah.
Well, I think I mean, the 9th is Columbus Day. And the second, so really if we were gonna stick with Monday, the only Monday in October we have is October 16th.
Yeah.
Does that work for
Yeah.
everybody? Well, let's try it. I mean,
Okay,
if the mayor can't be here, then we're gonna have to.
right. Or Tuesday, but I don't know, when does city council meet?
They meet on the 18th. I mean, we could do Tuesday too.
What are you talking about?
That could be a-
Well, and the
That could be a
time, might-
backup.
I think I did ask her what time would be good for her because she may want to meet earlier than 7. So if we could meet at 6, would that be okay? I mean,
Sure.
I told her we meet at 7, but if it works better for her and Greg, I mean, it might,
That works for me.
okay.
I don't have my phone, I should say that, I'm sure about it.
All right, so let's look ahead for the Friends meeting. When did we want to think about doing that? There's the 13th, or the 20th, or the 27th.
When's Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Thanksgiving is the 23rd.
We're going to combine the two meetings.
We could do it on the 27th and then skip December.
That's an idea.
Okay, I'll have to double check, but, why don't we go, put that down for now. And-
Works for me.
We'll have to be mailing, well, even if I don't mail it out until that letter until after.
Yeah, you don't want to send it out too
No.
early because then it's
Yeah, I mean,
forgotten.
maybe after the October meeting.
Okay,
November, what did you say?
27th.
27th?
And that would be the Friends and then just a regular meeting.
Right.
So that's the Monday after the Thanksgiving
Mhm.
weekend.
Correct.
Right, we can do that, a tentative
Okay.
now. Okay. And did you want to talk about map?
Yes, so, there was a little, well, you were in on the email, but the young man, that's Jake, who's doing the work for us, was unable to use the old files because of compatibility
Yeah, it was
issues.
obsolete
It was obsolete.
program or-
So, he had to kind of go back to square one, but he's done sounded like he's done the basic reconstruction. And so one of the things he asked was, for the big map, which I presume he means, showing the larger area for Easthampton, all of Easthampton, Northampton, and I don't know if he was specifically saying to include all of Hadley and Amherst.
Well, he says, I was thinking the large map in the new version should be all of Easthampton to Northampton to Williamsburg and Hadley/Amherst.
But if we, and I mean, this is just the beginning of Hadley. If we go all the way out to Amherst, that's going to
It's
compress.
gonna have to make it awfully small.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work. So
Yeah.
that's why I suggested in the email to you, which I can send to him once we decide. The way it is now, you see where the connection is, but you
Yeah.
know, if you want to see where it goes,
Yeah,
we'd have a
that-
QR code and
It
you can,
stretch all the way to, I mean, it goes to Belchertown.
right,
So that's gonna be.
that would be like way, out.
As big as the whole rest of the map.
Right.
And I think it's gonna make it too,
it's
too
gonna
scrunched.
squish us
I
down.
think the DCR has its own map of the Mass Central
Of there.
Trail, because it's,
Yeah, we could definitely put a QR code.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, we already
Right.
have some,
Mhm.
yeah, did that last time.
Yeah.
And likewise, you know, Williamsburg. I think so long as we just show that there is a trail there and
now that's
maybe,
part of the Northampton Trail.
but
So,
once it goes into Williamsburg, is
well,
it
it only goes, it just goes barely into Williamsburg. It goes, where are you?
where it
goes to
stops?
Leeds
Okay,
and makes the little lollipop, and then there's a piece that goes alongside the river, just barely into Haydenville.
okay,
But that's part of the Northampton Trail, so that
Okay.
needs to be in there, because it's, that really is part of their system.
okay,
And then it, you know, Williamsburg won't, they haven't been able to get it through yet.
right.
But that spur that goes along the river is wonderful.
Is it
And it ought to be
more
included.
than what is on the current map? Do you have a map?
I do. So that's new. It may not have been there at the time. Let's see. There's the little, yeah, that's it. There's the little lollipop at, Grove Avenue there, and then there's that spur along the river. And yeah, it just about hits the Williamsburg border, and that's as far as they've allowed it so far.
Okay,
So what's on here is.
it's still current, okay.
Can you
And
show,
like,
someone show the, camera? I can't see.
I have to put it in front of my face.
Yeah, in front of your face.
I don't know if that's big enough. So, I'm gonna do this backwards.
Is it on the website?
It would be on the website, but I don't know if it's the exact same size. But Alexis, it just, I don't know how to do that.
You go ahead and talk, because it's gonna follow whoever's making
Right,
noise.
so it just goes up just a little bit over the line.
not
No, it's
showing
not
you.
showing you. It's not showing it.
Yeah.
But anyway, you know, again, I think if we show all of Northampton, all of Easthampton, and show the connections to
To the Mass Central.
the Mass
Mhm.
Central and, well, I guess.
That's all there
I
is.
guess that's all there is. So there's nothing new in Hatfield either.
Not yet.
And
There
that
are-
would be up. to-
There are plans in the works, but it's too
That's
far
not
into the
built.
future to even put a dotted line.
So it's not really gonna be that much different than what's on here already.
Right.
So if you have an old copy, it would
Put
be
it, like,
similar
closer
to
to
that. But it's following
the
the
child
Yeah, it's not
voice.
following. Oh, there you go.
There we go,
Yeah.
so.
Right.
See?
This is technology at its finest here.
Sorry, it's fine. Thanks for trying.
So, anyway, that was his only question
Yeah,
as of right now.
yeah.
So
he-
if that's okay, I'll answer.
Yeah, let him
in
know that, because, George was sounding like he thought, oh, it would be great to have the whole thing, but I
don't
wouldn't
see
want it
how-
to be any scrunchier than this.
No, if we have,
It would make everything too small.
it would really make,
And then where do you draw the line? You could continue down to Connecticut, with our connection down there, you know?
So,
Well, as you move around, the map
Yeah.
changes with you.
Yeah.
so just suggest to him that he look and see what the DCR has for a map and put
okay,
a link to it on there somewhere.
okay.
Because it would be good to show, for people to be able to see the connected,
Yeah,
that other
Are
branch.
those things down there, do they tell what they are? Is there something that?
I mean, it's just the Friends site
Yeah,
and the Friends of
the two of
Northampton.
ours.
Okay, does it say?
Organizations.
underneath? Yeah, okay.
Yes,
I'm a
it does.
trail friend.
It says what it's for. But, you know, maybe over here, we could have a QR code
Yeah,
with
yeah.
that trail, and
Oh,
up
yeah.
here, we could have, you
That'd be
know,
excellent. If it could be embedded right in the map, that
Mhm.
would be
Right.
really good.
and people would kind of get it.
Yeah. Otherwise, if it's down there, they're probably not gonna see it.
Right.
I think, yeah, if
Yeah, right there, there's room
There.
for it,
There is room.
yeah.
in the cornfields there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, he's put in a fair bit of work just reconstructing those old unusable files.
Mm,
Yeah,
Okay,
but he's working on it,
Yes,
so
he is.
great.
that's more than we can say for
Yeah.
our other attempts to get
Right.
things moving.
So is there a hope that this will be for next year at some point?
Yeah, he says he wants to work on it, during the winter. He said after daylight savings time. He
I mean, if we
intends to
could have
spend
it
more
for the
time on it.
spring, that would be great.
Yeah, oh yeah. that'd be
Yeah, over
ideal.
the winter.
Yeah.
When is this thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
So
can
just
get-
for reference, on the website is just links to Google Maps, and then there's an artistic rendering.
Oh, okay.
Really? Huh.
For what,
Yeah.
the DCR?
No, for
No.
your website.
Wow.
I thought we had.
Artistic rendering by Alan James Robinson.
That's really old.
Yep. I wonder if Hampton has it on there. Maybe we can.
Yeah,
Add
that's a good idea.
Huh, I thought.
I thought we had a PDF of it. No? I'll have to look into that. Okay. If not, maybe if he has one, if Jake has one if he has that.
He has one of these, because I put it in his mailbox myself.
Right, but if
Uh,
he,
but the electronic version, I don't know.
yeah, but once he gets that, we can snag that from
Can
him.
we just take a picture of it? We probably wouldn't. Would you be able to zoom in if it was just a?
It looks like Friends of Northampton Trails has it.
Okay.
If it's the same one, but I don't know. It says downtown Northampton, Northampton, Easthampton, downtown Easthampton, regional map. That looks like your map that you're showing.
That sounds correct.
So yeah, FNT has it, but we don't.
Okay. Well, if they've got it, we can get it.
There's literally just like photos of it. I mean, it looks good. It's fine. It will work. No, it's a real file.
Okay.
I wonder if I have one. I wonder if I have one in my computer.
Yeah, can you check? Because I don't think I do.
I don't know.
George probably has it.
Or who's, Garrett might have, doesn't he have a lot of maps too? I thought he had stuff.
I can look to see if I have any.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Maybe-
check with George. He probably has the electronic version.
Okay. Then we'll send it to Trace and ask
Cause
him
this
to
is theirs
post it.
too.
All right. Anything else?
Yeah, going back to maintenance, you did ask me to look at for dead trees along the stretch over by, community feed. I checked it out and, there's nothing really serious right now, except for one dead tree about that wide, heading towards Millside Park.
Yeah.
At some point it should be taken down. Other than that, you can wait till next year because there's some little overhang that might be a problem next year.
We had that trimmed a few years ago.
Yeah,
But-
and then another thing on the Fort Hill Road, the erosion, the sand collection.
Right.
Yeah.
I checked that out. Unless somebody did something with the sand, cleaned it up, it looked pretty clean today.
How about, could
Wow.
you see if somebody had cleaned the sand and like put it in the grass? That was the issue.
Yeah,
They were cleaning it off the trail and then just dumping it over, so the guy who was mowing.
yeah, well, I didn't really see anything like that. I must have washed out already from all the rain. But there is a section coming down Fort Hill Road on the farm side there, the Kozel Farm,
Yep.
where his lawn had eroded out. There's a little trench there starting So I think the town should put some crushed stone or something in there and fix that edge.
Is it right near the trail?
Huh?
Is it right near the trail?
Yeah,
Is that-
it's pretty close to where a rail trail crosses.
So
Maybe
is this,
about
is the stuff coming onto the trail? Is it eroding onto the trail?
That's probably where, it has to come from somewhere.
Yeah, I'm not sure where the sand originally came from, but that's an issue right there that might be getting worse because it's eroding the lawn. It just is about this wide, maybe 6 feet long.
I wonder what would
8 feet.
cause that?
Yeah,
I mean, what would cause that?
Suddenly, because it's,
well, I mean,
Why would
it's
that be?
just erosion from water.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got a lot of storms.
Yeah, this is a bad year, right? Just like the causeway, the sinkhole we had.
I can't find anything on East Street that would be
I know.
causing the sand problem, and that's what I can't figure out, you know?
Yeah.
But it always appears every year.
Yeah, I know, it has for, like, since we've had the trail, it's like all.
Yep.
Okay. I don't
Just
really,
have to keep an eye on it.
not really. They'll probably say like, okay. Yeah. But, okay.
That's
So
basically it.
do they sand that road in the wintertime?
I'm sure they do, but this is like,
That's not the problem.
that's not the
though.
problem, no.
Hmm.
It's coming down, it's washing from someplace.
It's coming down
okay.
from the side, but where it originates, I don't know. Other than that washout, I just noticed, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a mystery sometimes.
Mhm.
All right,
Okay.
so October 16th, or if it ends up, she can do the 17th, not the 16th, is that a maybe?
Sure.
I think it should be all
All
right.
right, and then, but possible for the Friends meeting on the 27th
Yeah.
of November.
And I think we should see if somebody wants to take the lead on the grant.
I can at least look it up,
Okay.
and, because I did want to get, we'll have to have some kind of a price. So I
Right.
need to have Greg look on the state bid list and see what he can come up with,
Mhm.
and then probably figure out which one would maybe be the best.
Right. And if there's any other equipment that we would potentially need to
Right.
bundle with that, I don't know. or
Yeah,
just do-
I thought it would be really neat to be able to blow leaves with it too, but I think that it would, because you have to turn it. I don't know how you would do it from inside a vehicle, like,
Someone sit on the hood.
You'd have to have some,
you'd have to have somebody,
or somebody's on the back.
have to have two people, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, sit on the back. With the-
Mm-hmm.
Good, I
That'll work.
guess.
That'd be fun.
We should think about if there's any other equipment you might want, depending on
Right,
what
like
the
attachments
attachments
or
are. 'Cause
something.
I do remember from going to the Mass Trails webinar that they prioritize applications for higher dollar amounts.
Ah.
Well, we could
So maybe a
Okay.
plow
the
attachment.
Mercedes of,
Gold plated.
Yeah, I would say, gosh, look at the plow. And if there is a leaf blower
and
attachment,
attachments.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I think if we're gonna apply for a grant, we're not gonna go for a used one. We're gonna get a new one and it's
Mhm.
gonna be, you know. But,
Yeah.
but this guy, he had all this stuff, you know, everything you could need was in the back, which I think makes sense.
It's more
Sure.
efficient,
You
yeah.
know, you're out and way on one end and you
Right.
realize you need something that's way back on the other end, you
Right.
know. She's not gonna ride her bike to get that.
No.
And what are you gonna put a weed whacker on a bicycle? I mean, I don't even know how really I think must be driving
And then
then
parking and
walking
walking, yeah.
and which is a pain in the neck.
Yeah.
I think it's just not efficient and it's taking up more time for her to get from here to there than what she really needs to be doing.
Right.
So
And the police department doesn't have,
they do have
they
one.
have one, they use it for their,
I don't know.
like, events maybe. or
Seems like
something.
they got theirs donated. Part of me was saying, oh, maybe we should, if a grant doesn't work, maybe we could reach out to the community,
Right,
think in Paris or something.
somebody
like that.
could, yeah, or somebody could donate their own golf
Put their
ball or
name on it.
Yeah, put their
Mhm.
name on it.
Sure.
I mean, they've donated stuff to the police department, so you never know.
Which reminds me, that sign is still up for the, the trail sponsor for Craig Del Penna.
Oh,
I
gosh.
thought we had decided to remove
We
that.
did.
Oh, that was South Street, right?
Yeah,
Wow, oh. I thought Peter did that, took that down.
yeah, no, it's still there. I
Oh,
saw
what
it
is-
the other
what-
day and I said, oh, that's
Okay.
been there a long time and I don't think there's any exchange of
No,
funds
there's
at this
nothing.
point, so.
I wonder.
We used to have a sponsor program where we
Right.
encourage people to sponsor
So there's a
sections.
sign up that needs to be removed?
Yes. I don't know how it's attached, if it's nailed, if
It might be one of those,
plastic, metal.
that, fancy screws that Peter used to have.
Yeah, it probably is.
You need to.
You need a
reverse.
special tool to get them off.
Yeah. Kathy dropped me
go
off
in
the
reverse.
catalog where he ordered those. He had a company that he ordered those screws from and she dropped off the.
There's I think there's some of that stuff in the shed.
Yeah.
Could be.
the-
Maybe the tool's right there.
And I think I actually I grabbed one for future use because there was a sign I needed to take off a while back, that had faded it into almost nothingness.
Right.
So where is this one? Over by South Street?
Is it right
It's
on?
on the railing, and one of the railings. It's between Coleman and South, I think,
It isn't right there at South Street.
or is it farther down? I don't know. You know, it's one of those things you pass and you
Yeah,
don't
I don't remember.
even pay attention to it. You don't see it anymore.
Well, if somebody's out there, if you want to take a look to see what it looks
Yeah.
like they're connected with.
It's small. It's long and narrow, but it's
But it's on the fence?
on the fence.
Because the one I took off was actually attached to,
No, this is on the fence.
Yeah.
So it should be easy to get to.
you're right, it might just be like a regular nut and bolt.
Probably not, because if it was, it probably would be gone.
But it should be removed, I think.
Yeah,
And
Fort
it
Hill,
has-
Fort Hill, they have pulled their sponsorship. So that sign that we spent $200 on to put for Fort Hill Brewery to adopt a section is now in my office. Yeah. Yep.
Do you want to ask them if they want to re-up?
Oh, no, he came in and gave it to me.
Oh.
He took it off and brought it in and said, here you go, we're done.
Well,
Oh, is that when he had the problem with the mayor?
No, it wasn't that long ago. It was, I don't know, earlier this summer or something.
it's probably because we wouldn't let him build his,
No, he didn't. He
his,
just, I think that he
bike track.
sold that section of property that's right next to,
Oh.
or I don't know
They
what it
grew their
was, but there
house.
was, yeah, he just came in and returned it, so
oh, well.
he was able to get it off.
Mm.
So maybe it might be easily removed.
Right.
Okay,
Is it?
All right,
all right.
sounds good.
So Wendy, when you write to Jake and tell him what we said tonight, can you, copy George on it too?
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Because George was thinking that it was a good idea to do the whole thing, and so let him know that we thought it wasn't such a good idea.
Right. And I'll rewrite it to explain why
Yeah.
that it would really
Yeah,
make our
Okay.
sections really tiny.
okay.
All right.
Anything new on the memorial for Peter?
I thought about that today, sorry. I just haven't had a chance to even do anything more on it, so maybe over the winter we can talk about it a little more. I mean, there could be another spot that's good too, so,
Right.
yeah. We'll do something. All right,
We don't want to wait too long.
I know, I agree. We should, by next spring, if we're gonna do something, try to figure out what it's gonna be.
We probably already said this, but who owns that strip of land along there where we're thinking of building the
Lovefield?
bench?
I'm not sure how far over the city owns, or whether we own all the way to Lovefield Street. I'm not sure. Could be.
Hmm.
Is it the city that mows that section or is it one of the residents?
It's one of the residents.
So then I wonder if the city owns the section where they stop mowing.
I think whoever owns it owns all of that big chunk.
Right,
We'd
I
have
think
to
when they
look at the
purchased
map.
it, it goes out a certain number of feet, right?
Yeah,
That the-
we could look on the assessor's map. Probably it was, because that's right over to a
It might also
road.
be the utility. Right, didn't,
Utilities there? Well, the city would own the Trail Plus on either side, and then the city would own the Road Plus, so I don't know how much would be left in the middle.
Yeah, I would
between those
almost
two.
think that we own the whole, the city owns all the way between the bike path and the road, because it's not really that wide. Yeah.
Yeah, it must be on there.
All right, so you're gonna check out the grant,
Yes.
that particular grant, but there's so much money. For some reason, I was sent a survey, I think it was from Rails to Trails Conservancy or somebody. And it was all about information about all these grants. Like, how much have you ever applied for this grant, or did you? I think they were trying to assess whether people were aware that all this money was out there. And I wrote down all these acronyms. I'd never heard of any of them, and they're all sources of funding for things related to rail trails. So I almost feel like we could tap into, more than just,
Oh, yeah, apply for
Yeah, definitely.
any number of them.
right,
Okay, so where am I here?
I
When
think
did
a lot of
you,
these are probably flush with money from the infrastructure
right,
and
yeah.
when did you mind sending that to me? I need it for work.
Oh, the list of all the acronyms, or,
All the grants, yeah, the email they sent you. I'm currently working with, I don't know if I told you guys, I actually work for, Mass Bike now. And I'm currently working with East Coast Greenway and trying to figure out some of the stuff, but it's like hidden in various pockets, and some people know information, other people don't. So I'm trying to consolidate a list for groups like ours in the whole state.
hopefully I still have the email, because sometimes when I do those surveys,
I could
put
also probably email Rails to Trails myself, but yes, I like to find where they hide all their information.
Okay, I'll actually. I don't know if I know that.
Let's see, New England Power Company. And here's Lovefield. So where's the bike path? Should look at the, I'm looking at the GIS thing on. All of our side. Anyway, I'll have to look at it a little.
Okay.
All right. Okay, a motion to adjourn.
We adjourn.
Second,
second.
all in favor?
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.